All right, everybody. Tarik Skubal is a Los Angeles Dodger. And as you can see by the title there, I don't know what I'm going to title this video just yet, but that is what I am. And I'm going to be going over it today a little bit with you guys here. So I've whipped something together, just so we've got something to look at as I continue to scroll through and go over all of my thoughts, opinions, and eventually ask for yours as we get through the entirety of this slideshow that I've put together. So welcome to the Balkin Baseball Show. This came off the cuff. I threw together a couple graphics and some ideas the other day, and I figured I like baseball. I like talking about baseball, so why not put together something where I can talk to baseball or talk baseball with a bunch of people that also like to talk baseball. So to get onto it, the return, Zhyir Hope is the big prize, the number one piece that we land here. And as of right now, he's looked great. He's been very solid, has proved a lot of people wrong with his power numbers, his bat to ball skills. He's continued to climb through the ranks here of the Dodgers system and is only going to continue to do the same once he gets himself over to Detroit, whether that's in Erie with the Seawolves there at AA or in Toledo with the Mud Hens at AAA. His ETA right now is 2027. I would not be surprised if he's a guy like Kevin McGonigal who makes the team out of spring training next year and slots into the outfield, whether it be a platoon role until he settles himself into a comfortable everyday spot, or who knows, maybe he's the starting right fielder alongside Max Clark and Riley Green in the outfield. But there is not much to say about Zhyir Hope. Kid's great. Hopefully he's continuing to be great. And for all intents and purposes, I hope he's as great as Mike Trout is at his peak. I hope, loud-ass motorcycle. I hope that as much success that can come from Mr. Zhyir Hope here, he's able to achieve it. So, and now again, I would not be surprised if the power numbers dipped once he got to the majors. Just because with Comerica is not the friendliest. Ask Kevin McGonigal, Colt Keith, a lot of guys. The power numbers get sapped a little bit when you play in that cavernous ballpark that is Comerica. So he may not be a 35 homer guy. Maybe he's a 25 homer guy, a 27 homer guy. But just know that all the tools are there for this guy. He's a great athlete, very solid defender across all the outfield positions there. Center field primary. I can't imagine he sticks in center field with Max Clark in the show. But again, he's got all the pieces there to be as great a prospect as we could return for the 2.5 months that Tarik Skubal, well, presumably would be a rental. He will be extending with the Dodgers, though, of course, that is the expectation. But that's a conversation for another day. Next, River Ryan, a guy who spends a lot of time on the shelf, but has got some great stuff. I've got a couple notes on him that I'll write to, but I wanted to get to the next prospect that we returned, which is Brady Smith. Again, you guys can see the numbers there when I show you guys their MILB profiles and stuff. Super bare bones numbers. By no means should you look at this and go, oh, well, clearly this guy's a bum, or this guy's great, or call me an idiot because I'm only using MILB stats. I understand. This is just a general reference for you guys to be able to see this as I talk about him, so you can have something to look at. Next, Zhyir Hope, the prize of the return. And like I said, elite prospect status, excellent numbers across all levels of Major League or minor league baseball to this point. Forgive me. ETA is 2027. He's been tearing up AA. He's nearly a 300 hitter across his minor league career with some legit power upside. Again, great athlete, can steal bases, can defend in the outfield, has everything that you would want from a prospect that can come up and slot right into your outfield. Next, River Ryan, again, suitable MLB-ready arm. He's a former top prospect, again, with the Dodgers. He's 27, turns 28 rather soon, if I'm not mistaken, which he's definitely older for a guy who hasn't had prolonged time in the majors just yet. But, again, the analytics are there, and again, thank you, Analytics. That's a channel I watch a lot to help me just understand a bit more of the analytical side of baseball. I am not as in great a tune as he is, of course. That's literally his job, is to be smarter than everybody else when it comes to analytical baseball on YouTube. But again, thank you to him, because looking at his retro or his idea of what River Ryan could be, what he expects River Ryan to be, made me feel a little bit better that we weren't just trading for a 28-year-old throw-in to just come join the Tigers to eat innings for the remainder of this year and hope that Chris Fetter can do what he's done with a lot of other pitchers and make him very good. And of course, I have all the faith in the world in Mr. Chris Fetter, because he's done great things with Scoob, with Casey, with Jack Flaherty briefly, Reese Olson, you name them, Cater Montero, Troy Melton, all guys who have gone through the Chris Fetter pitching farm have done great things in the majors. So by all means, I expect River Ryan to follow suit. And with a pitching coach like that and maybe some better health, I think that, or at least I would hope, that he's a sustainable major league pitcher. Maybe never an ace, maybe never a number 2, but maybe a serviceable 3 or 4 would be a pretty quality return for the age that we're getting him at. And then again, Brady Smith, he's a wild card. 3rd round pick in the same draft class as Zhyir Hope and Max Clark, actually. I did read into it that he did have Tommy John basically like just after he was drafted, missed all of 2023, of course, that reporting date in the late summer, and then missed all of 2024 with the recovery. Debuted last year in 2025, struggled a little bit, has struggled again this year, but holds a skinny frame. That is another concern that I think hurts his health a little bit. Is he and I are the same size, 6'2", 170. I ran track and field in college, and I was a distance runner, and he's a professional baseball player. Those two things, we should not be the same size. And I think that with the saying mass is gas, as he gets bigger, as he gets older, of course, still only 21 years old, he will continue to gain maybe a couple pounds, pack 15, 20 pounds on there, get up to 190, 200 maybe by the time he gets to the show at 23, 24 years old. And then maybe he adds a couple ticks to the fastball, maybe subtracts a couple ticks off some off speed, gets the control down, gets a little bit more comfortable filling out his frame as he grows into a grown adult man before he debuts. But as of right now, he's a wild card. He was thrown into the deal as a former quality prospect. He still is a quality prospect. He's just been unhealthy. And since he's getting healthy, he's got to find his footing. I can imagine coming back from TJ is a bit of a difficult process for a kid, especially one who has it when he's 18, 19 years old and has got to figure out how to do it 2 years later. So not overly concerned with him. Again, health is always a big concern with pitchers, River Ryan as well. But you hope for both guys to be healthy, to be consistent, to continue to develop alongside Zhyir Hope. And that could be a really good return for us moving forward. Next question, though. Where do the Tigers go from here? Now, this is a bit of an open question. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Feel free to type this as I continue to yap. Do we continue to sell? Do we blow it up completely and give up on the core? I'm putting heavy quotations on core. Or do we retool? Continuing to sell, in my opinion, would be probably the best thing to do, and that would mean likely shipping off Casey Mize, Jack Flaherty, Gleyber Torres, Kenley Jansen, not Justin Verlander because he wants to retire a Tiger, but those 4 guys who could get you some moderate prospect return, kind of like what Michael Lorenzen did for us a couple years back when we landed Hao-Yu Lee, where it's maybe you're not getting 2, 3. Casey, I think you're getting 2 or 3 probably quality, or at least of relative quality prospects, whereas you're looking more for that quantity or for that 1-for-1 swap with Gleyber, with Jack, with Kenley, where maybe it's a reliever who's struggled with command, or a starter who hasn't been healthy, or a middle infielder who's just had a hard time with strikeouts, or can't seem to get the bat to the ball as much as he should, or something like that, where it's something you can fix, more of a revitalization project with a prospect or 2 that you would get from each of these guys. Whereas Casey, again, I would expect a pretty quality return. That's the route I think we should go, but I'm not opposed to, again, the retool. Like, by no means does this team suck. We've just swept the A's, actually, just after I'm recording this. It's 6:30 Pacific. We just beat the A's relatively comfortably, 11-0, I believe it finished. Again, this team is not bad. They're just inconsistent. If we could find the slightest bit of consistency, whether that be in the bullpen, Scott Harris, Chris Ilitch, spend some damn money, invest a little, in the starting rotation, if you could just get guys to be healthy, like Scoob spent time on the shelf. Casey's hit the DL a couple times. Jack has hit the DL. Justin Verlander's been on the injured list for what feels like the whole season. And that's before you get to Reese Olson again, who's lived on the injured list this year after having shoulder surgery last year. Troy Melton and Cater started the year on the injured list and then joined the team halfway through the year. Even Ty Madden has spent some time on the injured list. And that's all of your starting pitchers that you have. Jackson Jobe, I didn't even mention. Like, all guys who you'd love to have pitching and ready to go for you, but they've just been hurt. And that seems to have been something that's plagued us for quite some time now, where we have a lot of pitchers missing a lot of innings. And that's where I feel comfortable with the retool process. Even Framber, he got suspended, but he was also hurt briefly as well. And that's the retool process. The offense isn't terrible. Again, it's anemic. It's great or it's really bad. There really isn't a middle ground where we score 5-6 runs. It feels like it's either 12 runs or it's 2. And not really any in between. But yeah, I think continuing to sell is the good thing. Like if you're going to commit to blowing it up, like you might as well deal the guys and then retool, get a decent draft pick this year, try and jump up into the standings, and then take advantage of a weaker AL Central again next year. Again, the White Sox, inexperienced competitive team. Their whole core from back in the day, 2018, 19, 2020, when they were competitive, they're all gone. You're down to a bunch of new guys and a bunch of young guys who have never been in this position before. They are very capable of regressing. Cleveland, same thing. A team that seems to just live on the margins, where they're an 88-win team or they're a 76-win team. That's a team that you could leapfrog. God knows the Twins are not going to sustain this when it comes to health, success, whatever else you want, results, all of it. More than likely is going to flip on its head. And then the Royals are just bad. And now all of a sudden the Tigers could retool and win 88 games again by accident or stumble into a 90-win season. And that's with the current roster. That's assuming we make no additions, of course. I would love some additions, but I don't get to make those decisions. Next, again, retool. Assuming no more major pieces are sold off. Again, this team is not bad. We've had a ton of guys hit the IL. Most of our starting pitchers have spent some time on the shelf. Multiple everyday hitters have missed time. We have a very solid core. I would argue a pretty good core of young pieces, controllable ones as well, with Max Clark, Kevin McGonigal, Dylan Dingler, Riley Green, the all-star trio there. Spencer Torkelson has kind of hit a bit of a rhythm here when it comes to just putting the damn bat on the ball. Colt Keith, same thing. Took him forever to hit a homer, but now that he's done it, he's kind of started to get himself back into that 250, 260 hitter range. Again, with minimal power, but we'd love to get that power back. But that's the core right there. You've got quality ball players. By no means are we a Chicago White Sox or a Minnesota Twins where it's like, hey, you're hot, but who the hell on your team is any good? That's a good problem to have. We have a lot of guys who are really good on this team. And that's something that, again, should be exciting to Tigers fans, baseball fans, neutral fans looking from the outside in. Like, the Tigers are not a bad team, and they're in a much better position than a lot of other teams who have traded stars before. Blow it up. Again, this is where you can look at it with a glass half empty. We suck. We can continue to take advantage of a seller's market, which I should have put that on the last slide as well. It's not a bad thing to move Casey Mize, who more than likely won't re-sign with us because of how ugly some of his arbitration stuff has gone. And who knows if he's committed to being a Tiger, if he wants to go elsewhere. Like, better take advantage of the market that is. And with teams overpaying for pitching, you might as well try and move him. Same thing with Kenley Jansen, Hall of Famer. Get him to a team that's going to compete at least. Do right as much as he's done wrong by us by being terrible this year. Do right by him and his great career, and hopefully get him somewhere where he can maybe go take a swing in another World Series or get to be the full-time closer on a team that actually needs saves. And Glaber, same thing. Good guy, good clubhouse fit, great bat at the top of the order. Has been terribly broken this year. But again, do right by him. Came to us, was very good with us, was an all-star starter with us. Get him to a team, try and get a prospect or two in return that could use him in the playoffs as the season continues to roll. This is a concern over the course of the next 1, 2, 3 seasons. The Tigers have at least 7 major league ready outfielders with 2 or more years of control as of today, August 2nd, 2026. They fall into multiple tiers, however, but there's only 4 spots that you can play multiple outfielders: left, center, and right, and the occasional DH when you're not DHing Dylan Dingler or Torque, or when Kevin gets a day off from the field, or anybody else who just needs a day to not be a fielder. Tier 1, obviously, Riley Green and Max Clark, you see in parentheses there. Riley's a 3-time All-Star, Silver Slugger. He's going to be your guy who's the go-to, one of one. He is the tier above. He's going to play 155-plus games a season. He's going to belch you 25, 30 homers. He's going to cash in 90 to 100 RBIs. And when the strikeouts are down like they've been this year, he's going to bat 270, 280, and have an OPS in that 850 to 900 mark. Superstar in the making if he continues to develop the way that he has been and cut down on all the negative parts of his game. Same thing with Max Clark. Obviously, 3 games into his career. Now he's 6 for 12 so far in his career, and I'd love for him to bat 500 the rest of the way. But if he settles into that 260, 270 range, he's 15, 20 homers, can steal you 20 bags, play good defense in the outfield, there's your center fielder. And those are 2 guys that have a lot of control. Riley with 2.5 more years, if I'm not mistaken, the rest of this year and 2 more. And Max Clark, of course, just debuted. We've got him for 6 seasons. Everyday guys, you've got Javi, Zach McKinstry, and Kerry Carpenter. All guys who are quality major leaguers to this point, albeit Zach's having a down year, Kerry was having a down year, but All three guys have spent a considerable amount of time on the shelf this year as well. Javi, 2 more years at $24 million through this season and through next. Again, he's a guy who 3 years ago, I would have said, no, he's gone. He's going to retire after this deal. Javier Baez has played himself into a very quality utility guy who can play second, third, short, center field, right field. He's continued his career, I think, at least a few more seasons after this year. And I would be okay with having him back in a platoon role where he's able to play center field every now and then, or slot into second, or slot into third to play alongside Kevin. And that's not a terrible thing. And we'd get him at a major discount of what that $24 million is that we're paying him this year and next. Zach McKinstry, again, alongside Javi as an all-star last year, he also won a Silver Slugger as a utility man in the AL last year. He had an unbelievable season. Now, he was terrible this year. He's continued to be terrible. But he's also been broken. And that's just something you can't control. A guy's going to suck sometimes when your timing's off because you're missing so much damn baseball. But he's another guy who's a free agent in 2028, which means you've got him all of next year. And he's a very quality utility guy. There are few players who can play second through third, right through left, and play it at a higher level defensively while also being a average or slightly above average bat in the lineup. He's not going to bat leadoff and bat 300 and hit you 15, 20 homers, but he can bat in that 7, 8, 9 spot. He can bat 240 to 260. He's not going to strike out a ton. He can get on base. He can steal bases, and he's an aggressive base runner. He plays winning baseball, and he's got winning baseball traits. And that's why he's been a successful player in Detroit the last couple of years. And then there's Kerry Carpenter. Lord knows the guy can put the ball over the fence, but the Lord also has a problem with allowing his body to stay in one piece throughout the year. He has continued to find a way out of the lineup and onto the injured list, basically since he got called up. When he's healthy, he's a 260 hitter. He can hit you 20 plus homers, 25 plus homers, and probably drive in 60, 70, maybe 80 RBIs at his peak. Problem is do you ever get him at his peak? Because at 28 years old, how are you supposed to get the guy into the lineup? And now I know he can DH, and he's probably the guy who slots into the DH should we have a packed outfield. But his continued injury concern is what has basically cost him from being considered a part of the actual core moving forward. Then we move into the need to see more tier. I could have thrown Carey in here, but this is basically Parker Meadows and Wenzel Perez. Matt Bierling is also a part of this. He's kind of played himself out of the lineup for the most part, if we're being honest. He's basically become a 23rd, 24th, 25th man now in the major league level. That's just because he can't hit and he can't stay healthy. But he plays right through left. He can play third base. Hasn't really played it all that much this season. But Parker Meadows is the guy. Defense is legit. At 6'6", a fast dude. He's like a gazelle. He can play great defense. He's got the reach out there. He's like a center in the NBA. Obviously not as tall, but you get my comparison there. He can get up, he can get around, he can get active, he can move. He cannot hit, though. And when we're talking about can't hit, he also can't stay on the damn field. Whether that's because he can't hit or because he can't stay healthy, he spends too much time not starting. To the point where, again, he's kind of played himself out of the core moving forward. Wenzel Perez, same thing. He's either Barry Bonds or he's me. It feels like he's either going 3 for 4 with a homer, 3 RBI, and playing great defense, or he's going 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts, and making 2 errors in right field. And that, again, injury prone. Basically, each of the last 2 seasons, he spent a good chunk of time on the shelf. Great platoon hitter. Don't by any means see him as an everyday guy. Similar to that Matt Bierling spot where you're just going to play 1 of every 3, 2 of every 4, and play 70, 80 games a year. But again, another very quality guy when he's healthy who can play himself into the lineup if needed. And then the fourth tier, young guys that just haven't stuck yet. Ben Malgeri has been up for about a month now, close to a month. He's been fine. He's having his cup of coffee right now. He's playing well. He's taking the challenge as it comes. And he's done a very good job in that platoon spot in right field and DH here over the last good stretch of games. Trey Cruz got up here earlier in the year, played like 2 or 3 games or whatever it was. And then was sent back down. I don't see him jumping back up, but I figured I'd at least mention him here because he did appear in the majors this year and plays the outfield. Here are your locks for the lineup moving forward, at least what I would consider locks for the lineup moving forward. You're guaranteed getting Riley, Max, Ding, and Kevin. Those 4 going nowhere. Lord Hope They are not going anywhere, but who knows with my front office and management and this team construction here nowadays. And then you look at the pitchers. You've got Troy Melton, kid's legit. Cater Montero, kid is legit. Pitched a dazzler again today. Jackson Jobe, coming off of Tommy John. People forget, this dude is a top 5 pick, number 3 overall, if I'm not mistaken. Jackson is legit. He throws gas, he strikes guys out, he keeps the ball down, and he's able to get outs. And he's still only 21, 22 years old. By no means is he past his prime and the window's closed on him. And once he's healthy, who knows what's going to happen? He may suck, he may be great, but the expectation is with a guy of that quality as a prospect, he's probably going to be great. And then you look at Reese Olson, and again, you assume, yes, River Ryan. Reese, again, pending health, River Ryan. Once he's off the IL, I would imagine he'd be on the first plane to Michigan or to wherever we're playing next and would be joining us for a series and likely the remainder of this season. Replaceable, serviceable roster spots. Torque. Guy can hit 30 bombs. He could hit 40 bombs if he could just hit 220. The seasons where he's batted over 215, he's had 30-plus homers, 80-plus RBIs. You can't tell me that isn't a quality first baseman. He plays a very solid defensive first base now. By no means is he a gold glover, but he's a quality hitter. And he's a quality defender. If he could just bat 220, 230, God, the guy would have a 770 OPS, 800 OPS. He'll hit 35 homers, probably drive in 80 to 90 RBIs, again, and just be a very quality every single day first baseman who bats in that 3 through 5 spot, maybe 6, and plays a good defensive first base. You look at Cole Keith, again, former top prospect for the Tigers, elite power numbers in the minors, has been hurt a ton since debuting and signing that extension that brings him through the next 4 seasons, I think it is now, or 5 seasons left. His dipping power numbers have basically been the detriment to him, and I don't know if that's because of the injury stuff. I know he had like a abdominal strain, and then it was a pectoral muscle thing, and then it was a wrist thing. It's like all vital elements of the hitting kinetic chain that have just held him back from having legitimate success for a prolonged period. And then again, Carey, I talked about him earlier. Late bloomer, came up a little older, was a later round pick several years ago now. Health has kept him out, can't hit lefties very well. Now, AJ doesn't think that. I think, you know what? Throw him into the fire. If he can hit lefties, he'll show you he can. If he can't, then he becomes a right-handed hitting platoon guy. And then Reese Olson there again, serviceable spot, could be a part of the core. But again, health, and more health. My overall thoughts. As I've shared with a number of things here, I'm completely bummed. Tarik Skubal is one of my favorite players. Guy is electric. Not to mention he's the best pitcher in baseball. Gives you every 5th day, we know for a fact that we have a higher chance of winning than we do losing. And that was entirely because of him. There is nobody in baseball right now who every 5th day is going to take that ball and you know that through 7 innings, you are going to be in a position to win. And all you have to do is score a run or 2, and you're going to be able to take that game from somebody. And now he's going to go to the Dodgers. He's going to be great, do exactly what he did in Detroit, but with a way better lineup behind him. And he's probably going to look even better than he did in Detroit. I just hope that one day, should the career go the way it is, that Hall of Fame plaque has an English D on it instead of an LA. Few things to note, though. We landed a top prospect both on the field and in the mound. Brady Smith, River Ryan, quality guys. Little injury prone, but again, still rated prospects nonetheless. Zhyir Hope, of course, the big fish in the pond here that we picked up. Very excited to see how those 3 guys continue to roll this season. And after the new year, again, this is back to the Skubal stuff. We knew we didn't have a chance to re-sign him. As much as I would love to blame ownership, and I will, and Scott Harris and Chris Ilitch not getting off of his wallet, not his wallet, his dad's wallet, rest in peace, Mike. Their refusal to commit to him and take this seriously is basically what ended up costing us an extension in the long run. I know we went 4 for 80 with him after his first Cy Young, and Lord knows Mike Ilitch would have found a way to get that extension done, whether it was 20 a season or 40 a season. But an agent or a client of Scott Boras is always going to find his way to free agency. Even if we were the ones to land him, we were never going to be able to get him. And that's just something that we have to understand as obviously a bigger market in Detroit, all the money in the world with the Little Caesars fund and everything there. But at the end of the day, if he wanted to be a Dodger, if he wanted to be a Yankee, if he wanted to be a Met, a Padre, a Giant, whatever, he was going to find his way there. I'm just glad we were able to get a return for him. We have gotten younger. Again, with River Ryan only being a couple years back, Scoob turns 30 soon. This year, River Ryan turns 28 in a few days. That's a couple years subtraction. You've got Brady Smith, who's 21, which is a major subtraction in age, and Zhyir Hope, who again is also 21, 22 years old, where you've just added some young guys who are going to be major league ready in the next 1 to 3 seasons. I only say 3 because Brady's probably the guy who gets up last. River will probably be up within the month. And Zhyir Hope likely makes an appearance by the end of, or by the start of next season or middle of next season. And then the final point here, the Tigers can now commit to the full rebuild or a moderate retool that kind of allows us to turn around quickly with the core that we have and the developing guys we have in the minors, or to kind of blow it up, accept it, take it on the chin with the losses here, and continue to rebuild over the next season or two. My final thing, mandatory Chris Ilitch and Scott Harris hate clip. Both of these guys here, not fond of either. Again, if I was signing the checks, I'm sure I'd feel it in my pockets every now and then when I'm dishing out millions of dollars to ball players and everything like that. But again, I'm not the billionaire and I don't own Little Caesars, the Detroit Red Wings, or the Detroit Tigers. But again, Scott Harris has been known to kind of not get the fullest of returns since he took office here. And Chris Ilitch has been known as the trust fund pizza boy, as they call him so graciously on Tigers social medias, who refuses to spend his dad's exorbitant amounts of money that he left behind again when he passed away. But overall, though, before I wrap it up here, what are your thoughts on the trade? Who won the deal? Did the Dodgers overpay? Did they underpay? Where do you think the Tigers should go from here? Where do you think they actually go from here? And a fun one for you, what do you think Scoob's extension is going to be worth? Does he get that fabled $50 million average annual value? Does he get 40 plus a season? Does he only get 3 years? Does he get 6 years? Does he get 8 years on his deal? I'd love to hear what you guys have to think down in the comments below. And one thing more for my sake, what's something I can improve going forward? I apologize for the mic quality. I know that me using a slideshow here that I threw together isn't the greatest means of video quality, but I will be working on it in the future. And I'd love to hear what you guys would like me to improve continuing forward. Lastly here, thank you for watching. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think. Send the video to your friends, share it around. Let me know what you guys think of the branding, the logo, the design, everything here. And again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.